Hey there, I'm your host Zoe, and in today's video I will show you how to create widget animations. So on the screen I have a very simple level bar which doesn't actually work, and if I press 1 we can see that go down, and if I press once again it goes up. And of course you could animate this up, down, left, right, even off the screen if you wanted to. And if I press 2 we can see a nice fade effect for my level 1. And this is very simple, just something to get you started. And with that said, let's begin. Open up your project and let's go to the content drawer. Now over here, I will create a new folder for my widget and let's call it UI. So once inside, we can create our widget. So go to user interface, widget blueprint, and I'll call mine WB_tutorial, but of course, call yours whatever you need. So once inside, you will see I have an animations tab together with an animation timeline. If you don't have this, don't worry. To get this, go to window and click animations and it will show up on your screen. Now with any widget, we need a canvas panel. So, well, not with any widget, but for most, let's get a canvas panel and let's get a progress bar and a text. So I'll just go over what I showed you at the very beginning and let's get a text. So if I select my widget, or I want my widget, not the text. So let's do 300 on the X and let's anchor it in the middle bottom. Just like so. And that's looking pretty good, I think. There we go. And I want this to have a little bit of color. That's looking good. And for this, let's do size to content level 1. So let's pretend this will be my level bar. So that's looking good. I'm happy. Now I'll show you how to animate this. So of course, create whatever is essential for you. So we would hit the plus on the animations and let's call this anim1. And whatever you select. So for example, if I select the canvas panel, whatever I do in my animations will affect the entire widget. So every single component that's inside. So I don't want that. I only want the text to be affected. So I select the text, then the animation, and then hit the plus on the track and we select text. And over here, I have a few options so you can play around with these. But I want render opacity, and this will give us like a nice fade effect. So over here in the timeline, we can stretch this out as long as we want. And I'll go with 0.5. And at the very beginning, so you can see our orange slider. So this will set our keyframes. So over here, we have an opacity of 1, meaning it's fully visible. And over here, we would set this to be at 0. So it disappears. And we can see that as we move the slider, it's visible on our screen. So that's one animation done. Let's create a second one. I'll call it anim2, but of course have better names than me. I'm just calling them like so. So we select anim2 and I select my progress bar. So we hit the plus on the track, progress bar. And now again, we have multiple options. We want transform. So this will help us to move our widget or that component up, down, left, right of the screen, however you wish. So same goes here. We can stretch this out to be 0.5. And at the very beginning, X and Y, 0, 0, 0, 0, that's the origin. So if I move my orange slider all the way to the end and set this, for example, to 100, it'll completely go off my screen. Now, I don't want it to go so low. So let's set it maybe to 50. That's looking good. Now, I don't know why you'd want to do this, but I'll just show you the mechanics. So this serves no purpose for the level bar. But yeah, that's how this would work. So let's hit the compile button and save. And with that, let's go to the graph. So over here, you don't actually need the event tick and you don't need the event pre-construct. We only need the event construct. So from here, you would do get your animation. And you'd simply do play animation like so. So whenever this widget is constructed, our animation would take place. So because this is going from visible to invisible, we don't want that. We want the reverse. So just to show you, let's actually add this to our player. So third person character. And I'm using a third person character because I usually use Brady. So just for a change, it'll be nice. And over here, let's go to the sequence. 0 goes to our old code and 1 goes to our new code. So this will be create widget. And for this, we have our tutorial, wb_tutorial. Let's promote to a variable, calling it widget ref, doesn't really matter. And do add to viewport. So whenever we begin our game, our widget will be displayed, and you'll see that the text will slowly appear on the screen. You see that? It's not immediate, it's not instant, just, slowly eases into it. So that's really nice. So maybe that's what you want for your widget. In that case, you could apply it to the entire canvas. Now I'll show you something else because I don't need this. And one thing before I actually do, let's say you wanted this for your entire widget. So let's pretend that this is our entire widget. You'd have it show up, and then you could create a custom event. I actually need one. So let's just say play anim 1. So let's just say over here, we'd create it, eases in slowly, and then you want to get rid of it. So we'd copy paste that like so, and do the opposite. So we play as it's supposed to be played, then get a slight delay for the length of that animation, which for me was 0.5. And then eventually we'd have remove from parent, which would destroy the widget. And of course, you can call this event inside of your player character. So we could have a, just to show you, keyboard 1, like so. And if we get our reference, we can call that event we created, which I called play anim 1. So if I call this, it's going to not only get rid of the text, which it'll slowly get rid of the text, but the entire widget will disappear. So if I press 1, you can see, boom, gone. So I don't actually want this to happen. I'll show you something else. So that's going to be playing, and let's change this to be, no, reverse is fine. We can actually even create a flip-flop. So let's do that. I don't really like to use flip-flops. I prefer to use a if branch. So I'll actually show you how that would work. It's just a better, safer way to do flip-flops. Over here, let's do a branch. And for this, I'm going to need a condition. So let's create a variable saying is on. Doesn't really matter what this says. So it's going to check for it. So if this is true, we will do something. And if it is false, we will also do something else. So like so. If this is true, we want to reverse it. If this is false, we want to play forward. And then we are going to set this value. So if this is true, we want to make it false. And if this is false, we want to make it true. So now if I play this, you will see the widget come on and off. So let's go to play, off, on, and you can mess around with this however you like. Now let's get to our second animation. So I can actually copy this. So let's just create a custom event saying play anim 2. And I will copy this without the variable because we need to create our second variable. So this will be forward and this will be reverse. And our new variable, which we can just duplicate, can be called is on 2. Now, I'll tell you something that you need to know. This will be set to true because in our designer, you can see that this actually begins on its original value. So it's already true. Where did I go? I'm in the wrong place. So this is already true. It's in its origin like I wanted. So if it is true, then we're going to make it false. And if it is false, we're going to make it true. So the same thing applies. Set this. This is true, so this is going to be false. Copy paste, and this is going to be true. Now, don't forget to actually put an animation 2. Opa. It is here. God, that goes there, and this goes into here. So if I didn't make any mistakes, I believe this should work. So let's just, oh yeah, well, almost. So let's create a keyboard 2 event so we can actually play this. So we get that widget reference and we do play anim 2. So essentially with this reference, we can call any event we create and you can make some complex stuff if you want. So if we go to play, I press 1, this appears like we want. And if I press 2, bar goes down and up. So of course, play around, mess around, create something interesting. And with that said, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And as always, happy developing.